I'd like to start off this review with a question for you guys to answer. What is one major key to success? And it could be any major, just one major key. I want you guys to pause the video right now, and I want you to think for however long you may need to think for about what is one major key to success. Then unpause the video and see if your answer is the same as mine. So go ahead and pause the video. If you have unpaused the video, the answer to the question, what is one major key to success, is consistency. Whether you're building a brand, a company, a reputation, consistency is key if you wish to accomplish great things. Now, we know, especially in the wrestling community and industry, that there are many levels of consistency. For example, the WWE main roster product, more than likely, has been a consistent disappointment. We haven't had a good episode of Raw all year. We haven't had a good episode of SmackDown Live since after WrestleMania. And why have they been a consistent disappointment? Why have they been a consistent disappointment? Because they refuse to put any effort into their programming. They have become lazy and they have become complacent. And thus, that equals a consistent disappointment. WWE has developed a consistent reputation of letting their fans down and putting on horrendous programming overall. And then there's always something, there's more than likely always something or a few things on the pay-per-views that end up bringing the pay-per-views for WWE down from being an overall success. Fyter Fest was the answer to the question, what type of level of consistency is All Elite Wrestling going to develop? Everyone was asking the question, what type of consistency is AEW going to have? By the end of it, you could really sense the passion that these people have for professional wrestling, and you can sense the effort that they put in to this show, despite it being almost like a glorified house show. By the end of it, we got a great wrestling show overall. AEW has developed a very good level of consistency. Was it better than Double or Nothing? I'm going to say it right now, flat out, no. Double or Nothing was something special. But Fyter Fest, by the end of it, if you were looking for a great overall 4 hours of great wrestling, Fyter Fest was for you. Obviously, there was plenty of flaws. I will go over each and every single thing. I am not biased towards anything. I've never been biased towards anything in my life. And I'm going to tell you guys how each and every single match went, what they could have done better, and what could possibly come out of these matches. But overall, Fyter Fest was an overall great wrestling program. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This is the official rewind for All Elite Wrestling's Fyter Fest, which took place 2 days ago on June 29th, 2019. We had 9 matches on the card. In total, 3 matches were on the pre-show, and we're going to get straight into the matches right now. The buy-in pre-show started off with a triple threat tag team match between Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, the Best Friends Chucky Taylor and Trent Beretta, and SoCal Uncensored, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. This was a great fucking triple threat tag team match. And I'm telling you right now, there is no excuse that some of the best matches that took place on Fyter Fest's card were tag team matches. This was one of them. These guys stole the show for 16 minutes. These guys stole the show on the pre-show. We had some double team action by SoCal Uncensored. I really love the double team action between Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. Frankie Kazarian, like I said, he brings a newfound level of intensity that I absolutely love. Frankie Kazarian's intensity really brings out the seriousness that SoCal Uncensored possesses. Usually they're like cocky and arrogant, and they're almost perceived as type of complacent characters in a way. But Frankie Kazarian, when he gets in the ring, you can bet he brings the level of intensity that is sorely needed when it comes to professional wrestling. We had a double crossbody by Mark Quinn. This was my first time actually seeing Private Party, and they impressed me. They really, really impressed me. I'm very impressed with how Private Party handled themselves in this match. Isaiah Cassidy dove over the top rope and took out the Field, the Best Friends and SCU on the outside. There was a double suplex on the outside to Isaiah Cassidy, and then there was a DDT by Frankie Kazarian. I believe it was Isaiah Cassidy that kind of tried to back body drop Frankie Kazarian onto Mark Quinn. Frankie Kazarian caught Mark Quinn into a DDT on the outside. We had Mark Quinn, towards the midway point of this match, do a shooting star press. I believe it was on Frankie Kazarian, and Frankie Kazarian kicked out. We had a double stomp kill switch combination by SCU. And I believe it was on Isaiah Cassidy. And Isaiah Cassidy kicked out. We had a beautiful spot where Mark Quinn ran up the ropes when Frankie Kazarian was seated on the top turnbuckle. He Hurricane Rana'd Frankie Kazarian off the top turnbuckle into a cutter by Isaiah Cassidy. Close 2 count there. By the end of this thing, the Best Friends won with the Strong Zero, that double stomp, Deadeye combination, almost like a Dude Buster combination. And the Best Friends defeat SCU and Private Party. The Best Friends have advanced to All Out in order to fight for a first-round bye in the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament. I believe they will face the winners of the Young Bucks versus Rhodes Brothers match at Fight for the Fallen. I was actually surprised by this outcome. My original thought was them going with SCU, since SCU is the more established of the 3 teams. But I'm guessing since SCU is established already, they're trying to build up the Best Friends as an established tag team, and they want to make the Best Friends a focal point in the tag team division, which I can appreciate. And I really do think that the Best Friends are going to be a major focal point in the tag team division. Hell, they could even be tag team champions by the end of 2020. Now, what happened after the match? The Dark Order, the team that attacked them at Double or Nothing, they made their presence known on the screen with the little promo. The lights went out. Their minions surrounded the ring, and then the lights went out again. Lights went back on, and the minions were gone. Based on this little detail that happened after the match, I can see the Dark Order costing the Best Friends their match at All Out, whoever that may be against, and we could get the Best Friends versus the Dark Order as an undercard tag team feud in the tag team division, which is going to get both teams over, and it's going to establish both teams as legitimate threats. And they did a very good job at legitimizing the Best Friends in this match, especially against Private Party and SCU. Great fucking triple threat tag team match to start off the show. The Best Friends advanced to All Out. Next, we had Leyva Bates versus Allie. Peter Avalon and Leyva Bates poked fun at the crowd with their librarian gimmick. First thing to start this off. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what happened to Kylie Ray, because it was originally supposed to be Kylie Ray versus Leyva Bates. I don't know if Kylie Ray had personal issues or they just decided to switch it last minute, but either way, I was kind of disappointed at not seeing Kylie Ray, since Kylie Ray is my favorite independent women's wrestler. Just pointing that out there. This was actually kind of one of the low points of the show, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. This was a low point in the show in more ways than one. First of all, this librarian gimmick that they got going on with Peter Avalon and Leyva Bates, it was funny the first few times, but now it's starting to get annoying. They need to be very careful, because if they overbook it and overplay it, Leyva Bates is going to end up getting go-away heat sooner rather than later. The librarian character just isn't going to cut it. It really isn't going to cut it. I respect that Leyva Bates wants to move away from the blue pants gimmick. I have no problem with that, but they really need to give Leyva Bates a better character than a librarian gimmick just shushing people left and right. I mean, she's not that bad of a wrestler. She's not a bad wrestler whatsoever. But as far as this character goes, they really need to be careful. They really need to be careful. They need to kill this character effectively, or else Leyva Bates is really going to become a down point in each and every single AEW show that she's on, and she's going to end up getting a lot of go-away heat. It's really not a good gimmick for her. It's not. The match itself wasn't really that good anyway. It was very sloppy. Allie and Leyva Bates don't really have much chemistry. I understand why they got Allie on the show, mainly because they were giving Allie some exposure for her match against Brandy Rhodes at Fight for the Fallen. And there was no way that Allie was going to lose this match. Allie was clearly going to get the win. They don't really have much chemistry. As far as Allie goes, I know what Allie can do. I know Allie is good at what she does. I know Leyva Bates is good at what she does, but they just don't gel well together. They really don't. And the librarian character, again, really brought this match down as well. So it was an overall low point of the show. We had a cross body by Allie out of the corner. Double knees by Leyva Bates. Allie mounted a comeback and hit a sliding forearm. A Kairi Sane sliding D-esque forearm in the corner. We had a modified pedigree by Leyva Bates, which only got a 2. Peter Avalon tried to distract the ref. He ended up throwing a book at Allie, and Allie ended up throwing the book at Leyva Bates when she turned around and hit the BSE, the best super kick ever. Allie gets the win like I knew she would. There was no way she was going to lose going into a big match against Brandy Rhodes at Fight for the Fallen. Again, match was very sloppy. Really wasn't anything special. They don't really have any chemistry, and they really need to kill this librarian character effective immediately. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not. Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jabali. Again, this was another low point in the show. The pre-show outside of the triple threat tag team match was absolute garbage. I just want to point that out there. The pre-show outside of the triple threat tag team match, complete garbage, completely unnecessary. If you only wanted to go back and watch the pre-show for the tag team match, I would highly encourage you to do so. They tried to make it fun, but at the end of the day, this just isn't comedy and wrestling done right. The funniest thing about this match was that Alex Jabali pointed out that he was rehabbing his left leg, and Michael Nakazawa said, "Oh, it was the left leg? Oh, well, thank you for that information." And then he started attacking the leg. That was the only funny part in this match. The baby oil thing, it was cringy. Very, very cringy. It was very unnecessary. We had a power slam into the pool. We had Michael Nakazawa doing a spear to Alex Jabali right through the table. There was kendo sticks. There was body slams on Legos. Michael Nakazawa actually pulled his thong out of his tights, and he thong-faced the ref, and then he thong-faced Alex Jabali to get the win. I knew that Michael Nakazawa was going to win. There's no way you're going to have Michael Nakazawa lose to someone like Alex Jabali, of all people. Michael Nakazawa, he's an entertaining promo, don't get me wrong. He's a very entertaining promo, but when he's fighting, he's got to get a little serious. This was really indefendable. You can't really defend this in any way, shape, or form. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to say this, just like I say for WWE, your standards are very, very low if you enjoyed this. The standards for comedy in wrestling are rarely done right. And I've said this numerous times. Comedy in wrestling is rarely done right. If I wanted comedy in wrestling, I look towards Orange Cassidy. If I wanted comedy in wrestling, I look towards R-Truth, because R-Truth is a genuinely funny guy. But this, it's not funny. It wasn't funny. It wasn't entertaining. It was kind of embarrassing. This was one of the moments where you would be embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. I'm not holding anything back. I am being completely unbiased here. There is no defending this. You can't defend this match. This match was terrible. The best part about this match was, like I said, Michael Nakazawa's little funny moment at the beginning saying, "Oh, thank you for the information," and then he attacked the left leg. Michael Nakazawa defeats Alex Jabali. Main card started off with Cima versus Christopher Daniels. I actually saw a tweet that said they have a combined age of 90 overall, Cima and Christopher Daniels. But yet they're putting on a match like this. Age is just a number, people. Age is just a number. I was actually expecting this match to go a bit longer. It didn't even go 10 minutes. But for the 9 minutes and 30 seconds that it was, these two put on a good match. Cima was in control for the start of this match. Christopher Daniels countered with a swift running STO. There was a Tower of London slam where Cima threw Christopher Daniels off the top. Daniels actually hit a picture-perfect Angel's wings, and it was probably one of the prettiest looking moves of the match. He picked up Cima and just twisted him in midair in a way that looked so fluid and so beautiful. Beautiful looking Angel's wings, planted Cima to the mat. Cima kicked out. We had a power bomb and a cross-legged fisherman driver combination by Cima towards the end of this thing, and Christopher Daniels kicked out. By the end of this thing, Cima won with a diving Meteora to a seated Christopher Daniels. Cima defeats Christopher Daniels in a good match to kick off the main card of Fyter Fest. Cima gains momentum going into his match against Kenny Omega at Fight for the Fallen. Afterwards, both men shake hands. Both men show respect to one another. And that was it. Good match to start it off. It really wasn't about stealing the show, but it was about exposing OVE's Cima a little bit more. And I think Cima could end up having the match of the night with Kenny Omega if they want to go all out for a Fight for the Fallen. Cima and Kenny Omega could put on the match of the night. But good match to kick off Fyter Fest between Christopher Daniels and Cima. Next, we have the triple threat match for the women between Nyla Rose, Yuka Sakazaki, and Riho. This was a great fucking triple threat match. The women of AEW are absolutely killing it. Second match in a row that the women on AEW, for the second show in a row, that the AEW women are absolutely killing it. The spots in this match were brutal. And Nyla Rose looked like an absolute beast. There was a spot in the beginning of this match where Yuka and Riho were trying to Irish whip Nyla Rose. Nyla stopped and pulled Yuka and Riho together, like she was trying to clap her hands together, and they collided with each other. That was a nice spot. Yuka flew off the top to the outside, taking out both women. Towards midway of this match, Yuka and Riho were trying to double team Nyla. There was a brutal spot in this match where Nyla draped Riho over the top. Yuka was on the outside. Nyla Rose went up to the top rope and did a flying knee like Daniel Bryan, draping over the back of Riho's neck. Riho was draped over the top rope. Nyla Rose flew through the air with a Daniel Bryan flying knee right off the back of Riho's neck. I swear, Riho looked to be out cold. Just out cold. That spot was absolutely fucking brutal. We then had a spot where she went for a swanton bomb, but she missed. Then, Riho and Yuka Sakazaki did double cross bodies on Nyla, but Nyla caught both of them. Riho was in a World's Strongest Slam position by Nyla, and Yuka Sakazaki tried to do a sunset flip. Both women pinned Nyla, and I thought we were going to get a double pin, but Nyla kicked out. We then had a beast bomb on Yuka. Riho countered with the Shining Wizard on Nyla, and the momentum carried Yuka Sakazaki over into a pinning combination on Nyla Rose, and Riho saved it. The crowd actually gave him a standing ovation. Crowd chanting, "This is awesome." Nyla Rose ended up getting complacent for the moment, and Riho rolled Nyla Rose up for the win. I actually thought they were going to go with Nyla Rose, but Nyla Rose actually looked very good in defeat. And the complacency of Nyla Rose, I believe, is going to almost be a factor into her character. And Riho ended up getting the upset win. Nyla Rose looked very good in this match. They did what they needed to do to get Nyla Rose over as a legitimate monster. Nyla actually attacked Riho after the match. Yuka made the save, but Riho shoved Yuka away, showing that it is every woman for herself in the AEW women's division. I don't think any of these women are going to factor into a women's championship match down the line. If I was to be quite honest with you, I think the women's championship match is going to be between Kylie Rae and Britt Baker. They could very well set up a tournament down the line to crown an AEW women's champion. But as of right now, these three women are looking very, 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 very good going into the fall months of 2019. Great way to get exposure on the Japanese women, and Nyla Rose looked like an absolute beast. Then we had a fatal four-way between MJF, Jimmy Havoc, Jungle Boy, and Hangman Adam Page. Can I just say that MJF is an absolute promo god? He's a promo god. I don't care. Nobody is touching MJF as far as his promo ability goes in AEW. Shitting on the fans for liking video games, calling Jungle Boy a dollar store Tarzan, and Jimmy Havoc a 65-year-old grandpa who's still in his emo phase from high school. MJF's fucking great. MJF is absolutely fucking great. I think that MJF may be my favorite promo in all of AEW. Bar none. Bar none. Sid the Nerdy Mark, shout out to him. He actually compares me to MJF. And, I know you want to see a promo battle between the two of us, but it's really a one-sided battle because MJF, he's got nothing on DJS. Just pointing that out there. But this was a decent fatal four-way. It only went about 10 minutes and 50 seconds. And a lot of people were actually calling MJF to win. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Jimmy Havoc cannonballed Adam Page on the outside. We had Jungle Boy doing his cannonball moonsault. And the rotation that Jungle Boy got, it almost looked like his boot hit Adam Page right in the side of the face when he came down. That was actually a brutal looking spot there. We had a Tower of Doom superplex that took MJF out. MJF wasn't even a part of it, but we had a Tower of Doom superplex that took out MJF as well. Jungle Boy hit a reverse Hurricane Rana on Jimmy Havoc, and I cringe every single time someone does the reverse Rana. There's legitimately no way to make that move look safe. That move looks brutal each and every single time someone executes it. It doesn't matter who's taking it. It doesn't matter who's giving it. That move is so brutal, and it doesn't matter how someone takes it. It legitimately looks like it could end your fucking life in an instant. I cringe every single time someone takes a reverse Hurricane Rana. Especially Jimmy Havoc. There was a beautiful spot by Adam Page on Jungle Boy where we had a pop-up powerbomb. And I believe MJF was able to put Jungle Boy's foot on the ropes. And obviously we had some tense moments between MJF and Adam Page. I believe that they're actually setting up Adam Page and MJF down the line in a program going into the fall months and when AEW launches their television show, and I'll explain how in the end. We had a huge double stomp by Jimmy Havoc to MJF. MJF was effectively taken out of the equation. Adam Page hit the buckshot lariat and then the Deadeye on Jimmy Havoc, and Adam Page wins. Decent fatal four-way. A lot of people were calling MJF. Listen, I get why people were calling MJF, and MJF, trust me, MJF needs to look legit as a heel going into the fall months as well. But Adam Page, think about this for a minute. Adam Page is going into the biggest match of his career for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in Chicago at All Out against Chris Jericho of all people. Chris Jericho of all people. You need to look legit as possible against a guy like Chris Jericho. If you're not going to look legit against a guy like Chris Jericho, and if you're not built up to be legit as possible, then no one's going to take you seriously as a main eventer. There was no way that Adam Page can lose. Adam Page could not have lost going into a huge match, the biggest matchup of his career, against Chris Jericho for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, even if he wasn't the one taking the pin. Even if Jimmy Havoc or Jungle Boy took the pin, he could not lose. He couldn't. It would be too damaging for him. They did the right decision here. Adam Page should not be losing either going into a World Heavyweight Championship match with Chris Jericho, whether or not he's pinned. As far as MJF goes, MJF and Adam Page, they're going to have a program down the line, and it's going to be a very good program. I can definitely see MJF getting involved in the World Championship match at All Out if they want to go that route. And I believe that they are going to be building up Adam Page in the mid-card a little bit more before they actually give him that crowning moment. I think Adam Page is going to be a huge babyface going into 2020. And Adam Page is going to receive Daniel Bryan-like reactions. I think that Adam Page is really going to be the Daniel Bryan of AEW. The Daniel Bryan from 2014. If they really want to go that route, if they really put some effort into it, Adam Page could be the biggest babyface that AEW has seen. And with a heel like MJF to get him over, it's a win-win. MJF and Adam Page, I believe they are going to be fighting a lot in the mid-card. I believe MJF is also going to be a focal point in the mid-card that could very well be the first ever AEW TV champion or AEW IC champion. Whichever mid-card title they want to introduce for AEW, MJF is a top contender for being the first mid-card champion of AEW. Another one is Joey Janela, and I'll talk about Joey Janela once we get to the main event. Also, the winner of this match will face off against Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian defeated Sammy Guevara on the pre-show for Double or Nothing. And Adam Page, since he won, he will be facing Kip Sabian at Fight for the Fallen in just 2 short weeks on July 13th. Kip Sabian was also on commentary, so Kip Sabian versus Adam Page. That's another innovative matchup. I'm very much looking forward to that one. Decent fatal 4-way, Adam Page wins. He goes on to face Kip Sabian at Fight for the Fallen. Next match we had is Darby Allin versus Cody Rhodes. Can I just say, Darby Allin's dark demeanor and dark persona, it works and it just complements his slick in-ring style so well. You know, I don't see many characters and many demeanors in wrestling nowadays that just complement the in-ring style so well. The dark demeanor that Darby Allin possesses just complements his slick, smooth style in the ring so well. And I fucking love that. This was my first time seeing Darby Allin. That was the first thing that I noticed. His dark demeanor just works so well with his in-ring style. I love it. This was not about putting on a 5-star classic. This one's about putting on a 5-star classic. This wasn't about getting people talking about a match of the year candidate. This wasn't about trying to wow the crowd in any crazy sort of fashion. This match was about telling a story. And this match had great storytelling. And Cody Rhodes does not get enough credit for his work as a great in-ring storyteller. Darby Allin was taking a lot of punishment in this match, but he just kept on coming back for more. Darby Allin looked like a legitimate babyface that just would not go away. Darby Allin was actually working on the left hand of Cody. That was the main focus for the majority of the match. The left hand that was broken. I don't know when it was broken, but I heard the commentator saying something about it was broken. There was one point where Darby actually got dropped back first on the steps. He was going to stomp on Cody's hand, and Cody tripped up the legs. Darby Allin went back first on the steps. There was a nice combination by Darby Allin, elbow in the corner, a couple of slaps, kicks, and a code red for a close 2 count on Cody. Cody took Darby Allin up to the top and hit a huge reverse superplex for a close 2 count. We had Darby Allin looking for a coffin drop, that back elbow on the apron, and Cody moved. Darby Allin hit the apron so hard that I legitimately thought that his spine might have been shattered. Brutal looking spot there. Darby Allin, props to Darby Allin for finishing the match after that spot. Darby Allin got tossed back into the ring, and Cody put him in the body bag. Darby Allin had a body bag. It was kind of the gimmick for Darby Allin that he was going to place Cody in the body bag. He was placed in the body bag himself. Darby Allin was placed in the body bag himself by Cody. He picked up Darby Allin and did a disaster kick when Darby Allin was in the body bag. Darby Allin never saw it coming. Darby Allin was unzipped from the body bag. Cody Rhodes hooked the leg. Darby Allin kicks out. Darby Allin stays alive. There was only 30 seconds remaining. And Cody's like, what the hell, 30 seconds? So Darby Allin ended up hitting a beautiful flipping stunner. Cody Rhodes had him in a power slam position. Darby Allin flipped forward into a stunner. Cody Rhodes was able to counter a move that Darby Allin was going to do, whatever move that Darby Allin was going to do, into a crossroads. The ref counted 1, 2. The buzzer rang. Buzzer rang. 20 minutes elapsed. The ref did not count 3. This was a brilliant strategy. This was an absolute brilliant strategy. We got a very good storytelling match with Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin. Darby Allin looked like a fucking star. Darby Allin looked like an absolute fucking beast that just would not go away. And you know something? It keeps both men looking strong, because you're not going to have Cody Rhodes lose going into his tag team match with his brother against the Young Bucks at Fight for the Fallen. And you're not going to have Darby Allin lose in his first match, his first impression on AEW. You're not going to have a guy like Darby Allin lose. This is my first time watching Darby Allin. I can already tell you right now, he is going to be an absolute megastar. And you know something? This keeps both men looking strong, and it sets up a rematch down the line. Will we get a rematch down the line over the summer? I don't think so, especially what happened after the match, and I'm going to talk about that. After the match, Cody's like, no, can we get 5 more minutes on the clock? Let's get 5 more minutes on the clock. Let's go to overtime. He looked to his left, and out of nowhere, Shawn Spears just decks Cody Rhodes with a steel chair. Just decks Cody Rhodes with a steel chair, and Cody collapses like a pile of fucking bricks. And Shawn Spears is looking around with the serious demeanor on his face. The crowd was in absolute shock. I was shocked. I was definitely not expecting this at all. I wasn't expecting any sort of major moments like this. But this, Shawn Spears has become the most talked about individual in the last 48 hours. And listen, a lot of people were complaining that, oh, it's unprotected chair shots, so we don't need this. This isn't the Attitude Era. Cody should know better. Cody was busted open. What about the concussion protocol? Listen. I understand what you're saying, but you need to realize that this was Cody's call. This was Cody's call. Cody agreed to take this spot. Plus, there was word after the match that he had to get 12 stitches and there was no concussion whatsoever. Cody knew exactly what he was doing. Plus, this isn't going to be a reoccurring thing. This isn't going to be a reoccurring thing. We're not going to have unprotected chair shots at every single AEW show. If that was the case, then we would have seen unprotected chair shots in the main event, and we didn't. We didn't see one chair shot to the head in that main event of Fyter Fest. This was clearly a one-time deal used to legitimize Shawn Spears as a monster heel. And you know something? It worked. It worked. WWE never gave Shawn Spears the opportunity like this. This feud and this match, this potential match with Cody, could catapult Shawn Spears into the position that WWE held him back from. This is going to be huge. Fucking huge for Shawn Spears. A match at All Out with Cody is all but confirmed. And you know something? A win over a guy like Cody on a stage like All Out, do you realize how huge that is going to be for Shawn Spears? AEW has done more for Shawn Spears in 2 months than the WWE main roster has done for him in 2 years. And that's fucking saying something. In just 2 shows, Shawn Spears is already one of the focal points of AEW, and he's already one of the most talked about beings in the wrestling community. Outside of Jon Moxley, obviously. But Shawn Spears, this is going to be absolutely fucking huge for Shawn Spears. So much so, I can actually see Shawn Spears getting involved in the Rhodes Brothers versus Young Bucks tag team match at Fight for the Fallen, and then we're going to get a confirmed match with Cody at All Out. Cody Rhodes putting over a guy like Shawn Spears on a big stage like All Out, it's going to be fucking huge. All Out is shaping up to be a must-see fucking event. You already got Chris Jericho and Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship. You already got Moxley and Omega. Now you're going to add Shawn Spears and Cody and a possible Young Bucks versus the Best Friends competing for a first-round bye in the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament. I don't know about you guys, but I think All Out is the only wrestling pay-per-view in August at this rate that you absolutely have to watch. Just pointing that out there. Maybe outside of NXT TakeOver. But this was a huge Huge fucking moment for Shawn Spears. Very good match. Darby Allin was made into a fucking star, and Shawn Spears is going to be a fucking megastar by the time AEW launches its television show. A match with Cody at All Out, it is all but confirmed. Next, we had the Laredo Kid and the Lucha Bros, Rey Fenix and Pentagon Jr. versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, the Elite. I loved the Street Fighter entrance for Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I think that was a nice touch. A nice touch on their fandom towards Street Fighter. This was an excellent, absolutely excellent fucking six-man tag. This was a six-man tag done right. And it was a six-man tag that made sense. It was a six-man tag that we can actually invest ourselves in because it's not been done to death time and time again like WWE has done their six-man tag and eight-man tag matches to absolute death. We had a beautiful moonsault tope combo in the beginning of the matchup by Laredo Kid and the Lucha Bros. We had a double super kick Hurricane Rana on Matt. A reverse Rana on Matt at that. And then Matt Jackson just started taking everyone on the opposing team to Northern Light Suplex City. Kenny Omega hit the mid-air dropkick on Laredo Kid. We had a moonsault by Omega, an elbow drop by Matt Jackson, and a diving senton by Nick Jackson in one fluid motion. Great spot there. We had a lot of outside fighting as well. It was actually kind of hard to keep track at some point. We had Matt Jackson, I believe, do a Canadian Destroyer on Pentagon Jr. Pentagon Jr. rolled through, and Matt Jackson went off the ropes again and hit a huge spear on Pentagon Jr. Great spot right there. We had a huge Spanish fly by Laredo Kid. I believe it was on Nick Jackson. Huge Spanish fly on Nick Jackson. Beautiful looking spot. There was a lot of beautiful looking spots in this match. So much so that, like I said, it was really hard to keep track at some point. We had both teams facing off. Both teams are facing off like some teams do in the past. Both teams have faced off in the ring at the same time. We had a triple super kick by the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. They went off the ropes, and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega countered with a huge fireball punch. Fireball punch, they're hyping themselves up. Excuse me. And then out of nowhere, they hit the triple power bomb. The ref goes for the double count. All three members of the opposing team kick out. Towards the end of this thing, I believe it was Matt Jackson that was running the ropes with Laredo Kid in a wrist lock. He walked up the middle rope, and then he had himself on the top rope. Rey Fenix walked the top rope like a tightrope, grabbed Nick Jackson, and did a Spanish fly off the top rope, and both men crashed and burned onto Matt Jackson and Pentagon Jr. on the outside. Fucking brutal shit. Brutal fucking shit that could have gone wrong if not done right. In the ring, Kenny Omega was able to hit the V-trigger and the one-winged angel on Laredo Kid. The Elite defeat the Lucha Bros and the Laredo Kid in an excellent six-man tag that could very well go down as the best six-man tag of the year, bar none. Kenny Omega obviously gaining momentum going into his match against Shima at Fight for the Fallen. Fight for the Fallen is looking very, very good. We only got 4 matches confirmed for Fight for the Fallen so far. We got Kip Sabian and Adam Page. We got Kenny Omega and Cima, Ali and Brandy Rhodes, and the Young Bucks versus the Rhodes brothers. AEW, like I said in the beginning of the video, they are developing an excellent level of consistency. Then we had the main event, and it was unsanctioned between Jon Moxley and Joey Janela. There was a lot of crowd fighting in the beginning portion of this match. You know, can I just say, I love the fact that Justin Roberts says that when the lights come back on, there will be one more match, and it will be unsanctioned. There will be no time limits. I like the minor details that AEW kind of added in there with their presentation of the unsanctioned match between Joey Janela and Jon Moxley. So we had a lot of crowd fighting to start it off. There was a chair brought into this match, I believe in the first 4 minutes, and Joey Janela set up Jon Moxley in a seated position on the chair. Joey Janela went for a swanton bomb to a seated Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley moved out of the way. Joey Janela ended up swantoning the steel chair. And then Jon Moxley actually brought out a barbed wire steel chair, put it on top of Janela, and stomped it into Janela's flesh. Crowd was chanting, "You sick fuck." And Jon Moxley took a bow at the crowd. Fucking great. Joey Janela then Hurricane Rana'd Jon Moxley onto the barbed wire chair. There was a table set up on the outside. Jon Moxley was going for something. He was going after Janela, and Janela ended up rushing, leg sweeping Moxley and himself through the table. Joey Janela, I think, actually hit the back of his head on the barricade. I believe one of the announcers pointed that out. Then we had a second table get brought into the match. It was propped up in the corner. Joey Janela was going after Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley picked up Janela in a spinebuster position, ran corner to corner, and planted Janela right through the table. We then had Jon Moxley introducing a barbed wired board. A barbed wired board. A black board with barbed wire sticking out of one side. And that actually ended up coming back to bite Moxley in the ass. That ended up coming back to bite Moxley in the ass. Because Joey Janela picked up Moxley in a fireman's carry position and did a Death Valley driver through the barbed wire board set up in the opposite corner. And you could visibly fucking see the pain on Jon Moxley's face. And that wasn't even the craziest fucking part of this match. The crazy shit hasn't even happened yet. We had Joey Janela setting up 2 tables on the outside. He put Moxley on top of the tables, and of course Joey Janela is going to do something fucking insane. It wouldn't be a Joey Janela match if Joey Janela didn't do something that's fucking out of his mind. That's fucking insane. Joey Janela brought out a ladder, put it in the ring. The guy was legit 25 feet up in the air. He jumped off the top of the ladder. Moxley was on the outside, soared over the top rope, elbow drop to Moxley, right into the heart of Jon Moxley, right through the table. It looked absolutely fucking brutal. We had Jon Moxley get tossed back into the ring by Janela. And then Janela wanted to do what Jon Moxley tried to do to him. Joey Janela brought out another barbed wire board, and he set up the barbed wire board between the ring apron and the barricade on the far side of the ring. That time it ended up coming back to bite Joey Janela in the ass as Jon Moxley did a Death Valley driver over the top rope, and Joey Janela actually got it worse with the barbed wire than Jon Moxley did. He ended up getting it worse. Right on his ass, right in his back. And that wasn't even the most painful part of the match for Joey Janela. The most painful part of the match has yet to come. Jon Moxley pulled out a paint bucket. A black paint bucket. And I had a feeling, I knew what was in that paint bucket. I knew exactly what was in that paint bucket. He pulled out a paint bucket of thumbtacks. Pulled out a fucking paint bucket with a cloth bag of thumbtacks. But this wasn't just a measly body slam on the thumbtacks issue. This wasn't a mere body slam on the thumbtacks issue. He beat down Joey Janela. He legitimately untied Joey Janela's shoes, took his shoes off, and then took his socks off as well. He took his shoes off, and he took his socks off. Joey Janela is now barefoot in the ring. Jon Moxley takes Joey Janela in a suplex position and does a suplex release slam. Joey Janela goes flying through the air, lands side first on the thumbtacks. Jon Moxley says, no, we ain't done, motherfucker. He picks up Joey Janela, he gets him in a back suplex position, and instead of falling back, he just lets Joey Janela fall forward, feet first on the thumbtacks. You could visibly fucking see the pain on Joey Janela's face as the thumbtacks were fucking sticking out of his heels. Joey Janela has got some fucking balls for agreeing to take a spot like that. I swear, you could not pay me all the money in the world. You could not pay me all the money in the world to get barefoot and step into a pile of thumbtacks. You could not pay me all the money in the world. I'm afraid to step on a Lego barefoot. I'm afraid to step on a Lego barefoot. So, let alone thumbtacks. Just point that out there. And then out of nowhere, Jon Moxley hits the paradigm shift, that modified dirty deeds that he does. I think he calls it the Death Rider in AEW. In New Japan, it's the paradigm shift. In AEW, it's the Death Rider. But the Death Rider on Joey Janela faced first into the thumbtacks. And not only that, before he pinned him, Moxley, somehow a thumbtack ended up getting in Jon Moxley's mouth. Somehow a thumbtack ended up getting in Jon Moxley's mouth. After he hit the Death Rider on Joey Janela, face first into the thumbtacks, he ended up fucking spitting out a thumbtack. So, if you want someone who's just out of his fucking mind as Joey Janela, look no further than Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley then ends up pinning Joey Janela in a brutal fucking unsanctioned match. Great fucking match. Will go down as one of the best of the year. Jon Moxley wins his AEW debut in the main event of Fyter Fest. In 2 months, Jon Moxley is already a fucking megastar in AEW. He's a fucking megastar. This is fucking huge. And on top of that, Kenny Omega came out and attacked Jon Moxley the same way that Jon Moxley ended up attacking him at Double or Nothing. We had Kenny Omega putting the table on top of Jon Moxley on the outside. He did a double stomp through the table. And then he started taking the instruments for the band that ended up not even showing up for Fyter Fest. And he decided, you know what? Let me use these instruments. So he started playing drumsticks on Jon Moxley. He started hitting Jon Moxley with the guitar, and then he walked off. And as the officials are helping Jon Moxley up, Kenny Omega comes out of nowhere with a fucking trash can. He comes back with a trash can, bashes it over Jon Moxley's head, and then hits the Death Rider to Jon Moxley on the stage on the trash can. The build for Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley is looking better than anything that WWE has done with their main roster product all fucking year. This match, if they want to go all out, no pun intended, with Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, this could very well end up being better than Gargano and Cole, if they really want to go that far. Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley is setting up to be a huge fucking match, possibly one of the matches of the year. Possibly a match of the year candidate. I fucking love the storyline progression with Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. And you know something? A great way to cap off an overall great wrestling show. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the rewind for AEW's Fyter Fest. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at DDJStorms. Follow me on Twitter at Man of Infamy. Go and check out the 15th annual special edition StormsStream. The link to it is in the description, as well as the link to the rewind for WWE Sleeping Grounds or Stomping Grounds. That's also in the description. Couple of things. On August 31st, speaking of All Out, on August 31st, at Pub 46 in Clifton, New Jersey, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Wrestling Express will be hosting their very first ever AEW pay-per-view meetup. No WWE, AEW pay-per-view meetup for All Out. I'm going to be there. Tommy McGrone's going to be there. Glenn Davidson's going to be there. All the members of Wrestling Express are going to be there. It's free of charge. Come on out. Come on and hang. Come on and take a picture with me. Come on and collaborate if you want to be on a personal blog of mine. If you want to do a little fan interview. If you want to be on the Facebook live stream that Tommy McGrogan always does. Come on down. Come on. Have a good time. It's free of charge. No payment needed. Only payment that you need to pay for is your own food, obviously. This Friday is the Lightning Flash update. Do not forget to check that out. It is one Lightning Flash update again. No more parts 1 and 2. I found a way to combine them again. So you're going to get one Lightning Flash update, one of the weekly show reviews, a weekly show review, and news, rumors, and reports combined into one. I'm planning on going to Extreme Rules. I still have to get my tickets. I plan on doing some fan interviews there. I'm going to organize it to the best of my ability. We'll see how that plays out. But I want you guys to leave a like. We're trying to get this video to 15 likes. If you ain't gonna give me a like, Merry fucking Christmas. Leave a comment down below. Tell me which match you thought was the best match at Fyter Fest, which match you liked, which matches you didn't like. I want you to hit that subscribe button as well. We are on the road to 1,300 subscribers. I'm going to see if I can get to 1,500 by SummerSlam. I also want you to hit that notifications bell with a huge diving elbow drop. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Rewind for AEW's Fyter Fest, and I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you Friday for the Lightning Flash update.